a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm your host today, Trevor Scott, and with me, as always, is your co-host, Ben Slinger.
Yeah, we just trade that back and forth each week. Throw it back, keep away. Hi, I'm here, yes. And we have a bit of a different episode for you this week. This will be our third annual Game of the Year episode.
Yes, a Game of the Year with a difference. These games don't exist.
Yeah.
Like all our games.
Yeah, well, that's it. We can't do real games on our Fake Game podcast. So what we've done is we put it out to Twitter and to the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network group to send us some pictures for games that, if they had existed, would have been their Game of the Year. And so we've got a bunch of them. We've got about 10 to go through. So thank you to everybody who sent those in very, very promptly. I only put the call out a few hours ago, so that was great to see. And we will go through those today, and you will see your games come to life.
Yes, and hopefully we'll get it all done in one episode. If not, there'll be an extra special part 2 next week.
Yeah, or something, or a bonus in the middle. I don't know. We'll see what we do. We'll see how long it takes.
Okay, so
I think we're going to start on Facebook, I think you said.
Yeah, Facebook. Okay, let's go with Matt Tilby, fugitive married couple on the run.
All right.
He knows it's 6, but whatever.
Yeah. I asked for 3 to 5 words, and that's 6. But so disqualified. No, just kidding. You're a fugitive married couple on the run. I like this a lot. So I'm picturing. I immediately thought of kind of almost a Flame in the Flood style procedural, like roguelike sort of thing.
Ooh. Yep, I like it.
We sort of starting off like you're in the car, and it's not it's not a racing game, obviously. But you start off driving, and you can sort of choose to pull off at petrol stations or grocery stores or whatever to get supplies and fill up on petrol. But obviously, you run the risk of being recognized and different things. So
yeah, I mean, Bonnie and Clyde are all over the news at the moment, so of course that's going to happen. You know, people are going to recognize them.
Yeah, exactly. So let's think of I guess you've got the driving bits. What happens when you get out of the car? Like, are we talking sort of isometric-ish? It could even be I'm XCOM style. Could be interesting, like mixing real-time driving, but then when you get out, it's sort of I'm thinking. It's given me, and part of this is the driving and just the general tone. It's given me a bit of a Dead Static Drive feel.
Oh, definitely.
But I think when shit goes down, then you go into tactical combat.
Okay. Yep. I like that.
Because I like the idea of just a modern, style,
XCOM
contemporary.
game that doesn't suck.
Yeah, well, a contemporary. XCOM's right. A contemporary.
No, but I don't know whether you heard, but a brand new game came out by the maker of XCOM, and it sucked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was called, and I don't think anyone else does.
So let's have a think about how we could maybe bring the narrative stuff back into it, because obviously, in XCOM, you do get attached to your soldiers, but if they die, then you can choose to continue. I think in this situation, maybe you can choose to continue if, your spouse, your partner dies, but...
Yeah, but you're at a severe disadvantage then.
Well, either you're at a severe disadvantage, or you basically are, then now you're on a suicide. Now you are enraged, and you actually, in combat, get more action points and this sort of thing, but, I don't know, maybe you've
only got the one character to move.
You've only got the one. You can't flank anyone. You can't take cover, perhaps. There are certain limitations around how you can play then, because your character now is just, on a spree, on an actual spree.
Yeah. Okay, so is this a, sort of like Flame in the Flood, where every time that you start up a run, you're basically seeing how many days you can run away from the cops for, and basically try to
either that, or you've actually got a goal, maybe a bit more like FTL, where you just have to make it through.
Your goal is you're trying to get to Mexico.
Yeah, I think you're trying to cross the border, either Mexico or Canada.
Yeah. And procedurally generated, you can sort of choose which way you're going.
Or maybe you could just get to choose right off the bat, north or south, and you get some slightly different challenges and different scenery and things, depending if you're heading up to Canada or down to Mexico.
Yeah.
I like that we start in the US because we're such a fucking US-centric media influence, but I guess it's probably hard in Australia.
Us being in,
because you're just going to go out into
here
the desert.
in the middle of bloody, here in the middle of Melbourne, and we're very US centric.
But it does provide sort of for a better story there. They've got borders on either side. What are you going to do for us? Find a fucking boat.
You can go south to get on a boat and go to Antarctica,
Tassie.
or you can go north.
Tassie's a different country, right? Yeah.
Or you can go north and go to Indonesia, or you can go east and go to New Zealand, or you can go west and you can go to fucking
Africa eventually.
eventually.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot, and I like that gives it a bit more, like stakes almost. So you start off, you choose north or south, and then as you go, you may even start off with like random amount of money, obviously. A reasonable amount based on you've presumably done some heists.
Yeah, I think what actually happens is in the intro video, basically you Bonnie and Clyde are exiting like a bank with lots of money, and they jump into their car and they take off. Yeah. And then you get to basically a T intersection, and one goes north, one goes south.
Yeah,
and that's where the game sort of starts.
Well, okay, I think the game starts even earlier in that. Again, based on the random seed, based on the procedural generation, you do get this kick-ass, like bank scene, and it introduces the characters, but the characters are randomly generated too. So you could get a Bonnie and Clyde type, or you could get a Bonnie and Jennifer type, right? So, but I just mean, I'm picturing this idea with these like cool camera angles. It's like all in engine, and like one of them slides over the top of the bank counter, and you get the like freeze frame with the name that comes up, and the name's randomly generated too, and their look is randomly generated, and then it cuts around to the other person who's like got their shotgun or whatever, and they pull the mask off as they're leaving, and then it like freeze frames on there, and it's like Jennifer. And then they get in the car and drive off, and then you take your left or your right turn, north or south, and then the game begins. And maybe you've even got a bit of. Do you think you've got a bit of like arcadey get away from the cop style stuff in there too while you're driving?
Oh yeah. You've got like the typical Grand Theft Auto star meter, and you got to stay away from the cops, hide underneath like a bridge or something like that. And as you see them all go by.
I just wondered, does that come in? Is that tactical as well, or is that real time?
Could be like semi-tactical. A little bit easier to get away from the cops in that than what it is in the in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
In the fact that they seem to be able to see even the smallest corner of your fucking car.
No. I think you want to make it a bit more systems based, where you can tell that you're hidden, right? Like, particularly if it is a bit more tactical. Maybe it's that you kind of get. Like, you drive forward for a few seconds and sort of get the lay of the land, and then you've got 1 second to make a decision of like turn left, go straight, turn right, or like if there's a certain piece of scenery like a bridge or whatever, it's like, okay, go into the bridge. But you need to make sure like the decision that you make, if the cops are too close behind you, like going to the bridge now is just going to mean you get busted. So it's sort of lose line of sight of the cops by making the right decision in these. And look, I think maybe it takes like 10 decisions or something on average to get rid of the cops. And then it's sort of, all right, now we're heading out onto the highway. That's really cool. That's really fun. I like that a lot. All right, we'd better move on though, because we've got a lot of these to get through, which is awesome.
So thank you to Matt Tilby from One Perfect Game. So go check out One Perfect Game because it's an awesome podcast.
Absolutely. All right, and we'll move on to our next one. I think we'll take this one from Facebook too.
Yes.
And this one is from our friend of the podcast. Well, they're all friends of the podcast, but previous guest on the podcast, John O'Peck, and he has given us The Spy and the Maven, which is also the title of his book, which I'm sorry to say I have not read yet. So it's probably good because we'll be going in fresh.
Yes, I have not read it either.
It is on my Kindle.
I really do need to read it. Sorry, Jono. I promise that we'll read it by the time this actually comes out.
There you go. But that gives us a fresh insight into this title. Now, I had to look up Maven. I did know somewhat what it, generally in context, but basically it's like someone who's at top of the field or like a connoisseur in something in a particular field. So, and then obviously you've got the spy. So you've got the spy and then someone who is at the top of their field or a connoisseur of their field. Do you think they are connoisseur of Spycraft?
The video game by Activision?
Yeah, exactly. That's the only thing they know. They know endless trivia about Activision Spycraft.
Shit.
No, that's not.
Okay, let's just have a quick read of the synopsis.
No, none of the book.
Oh, so we're just taking
the words. We're just taking the pitch, the title. Yeah.
What did you say Maven was again?
A trusted expert in a particular field.
Okay. What field is he?
Well, that's what I was trying to
say.
Yeah. So I was saying maybe Spycraft, as in, because we've got the spy and we've got the Maven. So maybe like this, you play the spy trying to like impress someone who is like top of their field or something, or like maybe this person, maybe this person is like a secret shopper for spies. As in, like, they'll insert themselves into their missions and then critique their work. And so...
Okay, so a mystery shopper who like, infiltrates the like, bad guys to basically investigate how they fight against the bad guys.
Perhaps, exactly, something like that. Like, I was basically thinking, okay, you've got, like, the CIA or whatever, and they're doing spy shit, but they send this person in to check on how good their spies are doing, right? Just like fucking Maya might send in people who works for them to check on their staff by pretending to be a shopper. In this case, maybe they pretend to be a victim or a bad guy or whatever, and then they, like, pull out their red pen at the end. It's like, here's all the stuff you did wrong.
Okay, so who are you playing? Are you playing the spy trying to impress?
I think you'd have to. I think you'd have to. And so at that point, you could just kind of maybe that means we're designing a spy game that is designed around perfect runs, right? Like,
okay, so I'm picturing that you get a list of things to do.
Yep.
A la your spy party.
Right, right.
But the person looking through the camera isn't trying to find out who you are. They're just analyzing whether you did the right thing or not.
They know exactly
in the right order, and whether you got caught by someone or someone noticed something suspicious while you were doing something. So it's actually.
Yeah. Well, I think at the end you get a very definite, like, scorecard. I'm sort of picturing these, like, handcrafted scenarios, like, levels, maybe like a third person-ish, you know, not as slow as, like, Sam Fisher, but still very much around. Almost, did you play, what was Clea? K-L-E-I? Their, 2D spy game? Ninja game. It was a ninja game, but anyway, it was very good around how you handled, like, how they handled showing the player whether you had been heard or were, like, what would happen. Sorry, what you needed to do to be heard, like, or to not be heard.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of thinking that, but maybe in 3D. And that you've just sort of got these, like, you've got these handcrafted levels where, you've got your bunch of tasks, and if you want, you can just run through it and do your tasks. You might still succeed and not die, but then you'll get a fucking F at the end. Like, you get a big red stamp on your thing, and it's like, you know, sneakiness 0, fucking, you know, didn't get shottedness 1,
accidental killing. A.
Yeah. Because you didn't accidentally kill anyone.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You maimed someone, but you didn't kill them. So.
So yeah, and then because I'm sort of thinking almost the speedrun crowd, or not quite the speedrun necessarily. Although there's probably a timing aspect in there too. But it's very much one of those. All right, you know, what's the high score you can get on this level? I got an S rank, or what, you know, whatever.
Or what's the quickest I can get through it without actually failing?
Yeah, well, even then, if it might just be, maybe there's a leaderboard for just doing it fast, even if you're seen or whatever. But I think the general thing is getting the best score you can possible on all your different spy factors. And you've got this person who, and maybe throughout the level you like spot them in windows and stuff, like you get a glint of their binoculars, or you see them like on a you know, as you're going through the tunnels, you turn down, like the vents, you turn down one vent and they're there just like taking notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good.
That's cool. That's cool. I think you can do some stuff with that. I hope we did your title, your book justice, Jono. Thanks for sending that in, though. Go check out Comedy Rewind and putting in work and all the other things Jono does and his books. All right, I think maybe let's move over. We got a couple on Twitter as well, so we'll tackle those. I feel like these are actually going to be our most challenging ones. I did say on Twitter, I did give people permission to send in their pictures as emojis. So maybe just because I've said that now, we'll take one of those first.
Yep.
And so we'll look at the one by the guys from Game Train sent in, another fantastic AGPN podcast. And so their pitch is side eyes, eggplant, cricket ball, present, circus tent. So we might have to kind of... Obviously, this is open for many interpretations.
Yes.
Eggplant, as we know, is generally used to represent Grimace's penis, specifically.
Yes. Circus tent can be pitching a tent.
Yeah. I mean, totally.
Sort of goes along well with Grimace's penis.
Grimace pitching a tent. Dick in a box.
A present dick in a box,
yeah.
Yep. Bat and balls kind of looks like a weird-shaped penis.
Yeah. A what? A weird-shaped penis. Well, it does there in this emoji that I'm looking at. And then, I mean, side eyes. I mean, who wouldn't give side eyes to all of that? So basically, you play a pervert. You play Grimace flashing. No, that's not going to work. All right, present. Christopher. I mean, it could be Christmassy or no. Well, circus. Why did I ask for emojis?
Okay. Because we kind of took it in that pervert way. How about you're a security guard in like a gated neighborhood?
Okay.
And pretty much you're being asked to go around to different people who are complaining about
the orgy house.
They keep on. Well, no, they hear a noise outside, so you got to go investigate.
Okay.
And you know, you're going round, sort of, you drive down this gated community, and you know, it's basically almost being a security guard. You're sort of going through maybe it's New Year's Eve.
All right, so we're taking the eyes as security guard, perhaps, because like you've got your eyes out, and then the other things are kind of things you come across on New Year's Eve. Like it's a bit of a like Harold and Kumar-esque, like crazy escapade all in one night sort of situation, or like a Dude, Where's My Car, where you just got these wacky characters that you come across, and it's going to involve a bunch of these things, like a bit of a raunchy sex comedy game. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. So, gameplay wise, I mean, what are we thinking is happening here?
I think it's like a first person, like feels a bit like the first person GTA feel of, you know, being able to jump in a car, drive, you're in first person in the car.
Yeah, except it's one of those little like golf buggy security.
Yeah, it's a golf buggy thing. After each house that you go to, you know, you got to sort of go on around, and you've been given sort of like a GPS that you can sort of follow every, you know, hour or so. You have to go back to the little gatehouse to like
check in. Well, are you the only security guard on? Maybe you could have a bit of dialogue back and forth with like the person in the gatehouse, and they're telling you like when they let a car in and stuff, or you get a little text message saying like, "Oh, yep, I let in Mrs. Jones from, you know, number 77. You know, just keep an eye out."
Yeah, kind of like the what was that game? Was it Firewalk?
Yeah. Firewatch. Yeah.
Firewatch.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, where, you know, you've got your person on the radio who you stay in contact with.
Yeah.
But they need you to check in every now and again, because, like, I'm thinking it's kind of like a turnkey sort of thing, that you both have to be there at a certain time to punch in a code to say, yep, we're actually still working.
Right. Yeah. Okay. because it's that level of security. This is like super rich neighborhood area.
Yep.
And so, all right. And so the things you're kind of dealing with are obviously, yeah, I think New Year's Eve, that's good. So you've got a few parties on, and often the complaint's going to be the neighbors coming in from that. But obviously you get to these parties and then it's just like, oh, okay, what the fuck is going on here?
And I think while you're driving around, like, I think it's basically there's 5 times that you got to head sort of back.
Yeah, the gatehouse. That sounds good. That's right.
The gatehouse. Yeah. Because it's basically saying that it's, over 5 hours that you're out there.
Yeah, it's like the 8 p.m. till 1 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
By the end of it. All right, yeah. I like that a lot, and I like this kind of being like almost this open world sort of thing, but it's literally just this gated community. Like you never go outside the gates. No. But it's fairly sprawling. They've got, the tennis courts area. There's a swimming pool. There's, a bunch of different little roads with all their cutesy names and stuff. And yeah, and then you get these calls throughout the evening.
And you have to head to the different cul-de-sacs and that sort of stuff.
All right. And so let's have a think about the sorts of things you run into then and see if we can bring in some of these other emojis so we're making a bit more use here.
I think there's like this big sort of house where you've got this kid that's home alone.
Yeah.
And you just sort of there's a little nod to it, and you see like throughout the night, like sometimes there's silhouettes up in the upstairs windows,
but you can see the strings.
You never have to actually go to that house.
You never. Okay, it's always different things. Yeah.
And it's like it's one house that you expect to have to go to.
Yeah, I like that,
but you don't.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. And maybe you even so like at one point in the conversation, you like they say like, oh yeah, the people at number 24A are on hold, like on a trip. They say you won't have to worry about that. But if you pay attention, you'll notice that there's activity around that house. Yeah, I like that. All right, so I think, look, obviously one of the classic sort of things you'd probably run into is a big New Year's Eve party where like some fucking rich teenagers or whatever are boozing it up. But let's sort of have to think about what happens there, like how that might play out. I think this is where the penis comes in at some point. And it might just be that like maybe you literally get a call of like, someone just jumped naked off the roof of my next door neighbor's house, right? Into the pool.
And it's like freezing cold because it's in America and it's like snow everywhere.
Right, yeah, totally. Well, yeah, I mean, it could be California or something, like it could be warm enough, but yeah.
I'm picturing when you turn up at someone's place and you sort of point the spotlight out and you see like footprints walking like behind the house. That's like, okay, that something's going on down here, so you can maybe investigate that. And
yeah. And I like the idea, particularly if you use nice shaders on Unreal Engine or something, you can get some nice like sort of that the glitter that comes off the snow when you shine the light on it and that sort of thing. You get that looking real nice. Yeah. Okay. So I think you show up to this fucking ray tracing. Exactly. I think you show up to this like fucking rager of a party and you knock on the door and it's like shut it down. You think it goes slowly, like smoothly, quickly, but then as you are walking back to your buggy, you fucking start getting egged. And so you've got like got like a little cover shooter section, except you're not shooting, you're just trying to...
It's snowballs.
yeah, snowballs, there you go. And maybe you have to like, because obviously there's no fucking shooting or anything. Maybe you've got your little, like you've got your phone and you have to get photos. All you can do is like identify and report people. And so the goal is, the difficulty is you've got to like line up the shot, zoom in enough, get a photo of someone's face before you fucking get hit by a snowball.
It's like observe and report the game.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you can do.
You do have a nightstick or, some sort of stick that you can pull out for protection for when there's like actually a real, crazy guy.
Yeah, or like a fucking skunk or something.
Yeah.
Which definitely happens.
I'm liking this idea, but I think we should.
Well, hang on, because we will move on. Let's at least think of what the quick fire, what the other things could be. The penis didn't even really come into it, that one. I reckon some people are skinny dipping or like And again, I know it's freezing, but there's like
they're in the neighbor's hot tub.
Yeah, like there you go. They're naked in the neighbor's hot tub, and so you get cold, and so you get a little scene where you like shine a light on them, and that's maybe literally like they're like fucking, you see these fucking wet nude bodies like running behind trees and stuff, glistening, and all you've got is your flashlight, and so you're just trying to like track them down.
Okay, the circus tent isn't actually a circus tent. It's one of those tents that they put over houses when they're fumigating them.
I was going to say that. Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. And so you've got to, and there are reports that there's like maybe someone stuck in there or something.
Yeah. I'm thinking like there's,
and you find out it's just fucking, it's actually like the 70-year-old couple, and they're just in there fucking hotboxing. They're smoking weed.
Smoking their glaucoma.
Their medicinal marijuana, totally. I think I think you get reports that someone literally is doing dick in a box, but it's a huge misunderstanding in the end.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like, well, maybe we take it as like the pizza delivery man, and you get multiple reports that like he's sticking his dick in the pizza, but actually it's just someone didn't understand what they meant when they ordered a sausage pizza and put a whole like hot dog on there, and so when they open the box,
a hot dog with 2 bits of cabanossi next to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a huge misunderstanding.
And the cricket bat is like the crazy guy who comes at you with a cricket bat.
Yeah. You just like that's the only time you get to use your nightstick on someone. Finally,
cool.
I like it. Yes,
that's actually really cool. So go check out Game Train with
thanks Carl and Callan.
Yep.
And thank you for that. Check out that fine gaming podcast. All right.
Okay, let's go back over to Facebook because we've got a lot more there. Okay.
Indeed.
Natalie Turner said managing a national park.
Now, this is right up my alley because I love these fucking management games.
Yeah.
But a national park is interesting because generally you're not going to be building stuff, right? You're sort of putting things in to protect stuff and so maybe this is less of the sort of standard top-down management game. And maybe this is a bit more of a chill third-person not walking sim as such because it's not necessarily narrative, but where you're patrolling this national park and you're doing things to manage it and making decisions, but it's not that standard like top-down building kind of management.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just what sort of decisions do you have to make as a manager of a national park in a game like this? Do you let people camp? Do you?
Oh yeah. Do you let people camp?
Like fishing season, hunting seasons.
Do you have to put out like warnings based on the number of bears around? Do you have to? Ooh, I'm just picturing some other things that like you got to check out the trails every now and again.
So actually Well, now that I'm thinking of it, this is actually, I actually had an idea years back of a bit, it was actually more of the top-down management building sort of thing, but where it's a bit, did you ever play Sim Golf? Sid Meier's, is it Sim Golf?
No, I didn't play it, but
it was interesting in that like the little sims that would come in, like they'd literally play around a golf on your little golf courses that you'd created, on the grid or whatever. And so, like years ago I had an idea of like, I'd love to do that where you're putting down like campsites, right? And these ones are powered and these ones are just sort of roughing it. And this is the areas you're allowed to have campfires and there's a river going through here and here's where you can fish. But and then it's sort of, you simulate people coming in and camping and obviously like getting mauled by a fucking bear or whatever happens. And you have to have enough rangers, park rangers out there to deal with that sort of thing. And you set like the hunting seasons and stuff.
Okay, but if you let too many in, then, you can actually scare away all the wildlife sort of thing. and then no one wants to come to your park.
Yeah, that's it. You got to balance, like, okay, you get some money. Obviously, you get funding from the government, and that's also contingent on sort of how well you're taking care of it. But you also need to boost that funding by people paying campsite fees.
Yeah. Kind of in the
hunting
in the
licenses
old SimCity sort of way of thinking. You know, you can have natural weather events.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Sort of come through.
Yeah, and I think you've got seasons as well, right?
Yeah. So, as soon as summer comes along, you know, bushfire is, you know, one of the craziest things that can sort of come through and totally fuck up your area.
Yeah.
And if you haven't set up your campsites very well with, ample, you know, parking and ample, like, fire trails and that sort of stuff.
People get trapped and
people are fucked. And
yeah, maybe you even have to deal with, like,
never want to come back down to you.
Maybe you even have to deal with, like, fire breaks and stuff. Like, where do you place fire breaks and paths?
Yeah,
like,
I like that a lot.
Different paths for the fire trucks to get through and stuff. Yeah, that's really cool. You could do some really cool stuff there. I'm not sure if that was the intentional to go down that sort of camping route, but I think if you're bringing people in for campsites, then because I kind of love this idea of really, like, because I love little person AI, as they say, like just watching little people in your computer doing, like, going about their business. And obviously that's why something like The Sims is so interesting and so popular. But, you know, I guess a bit more of a theme, Roller Coaster Tycoon did that really well, where you can click on a person and you can get a bunch of stats on them. It's like, how happy are they? What are they doing right now? You know, what are all the events they did? And so I'd like that for this game, where it's like, okay, I came in, I got assigned to this campsite. Oh, it's a bit small, so I'm not really happy about that. But, oh, it's right near the river, so that's good. I'm going to go fishing. You know, caught 3 fish, so my mood went up. But all of this is somewhat incidental. You can get that information, and it does drive the overall, you know, how well your park is received. But yeah, they just kind of run themselves. But obviously, because they're doing it on the things you built, it becomes interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. I'm definitely seeing, you know, being able to go top down as well as sort of going in and sort of seeing what's happening in your sort of campsites and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but the only way you can do that is you actually go in as a bear. Or a mosquito, if you want to get a bit more of a mosquito on the wall view.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's it. Actually, maybe that's the feature, is you can just possess any, like, forest creature to go into first person view and check things out from down there. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so thank you to Natalie Turner. She's from the D1 DLC podcast.
Yep, thank you very much.
Well, just check out d1dlc.com for all of their stuff.
Or search D1C on Podchaser.
Let's do another one off Facebook, because we've only got 2 on the old Twitters.
Yep.
So
let's jump in.
Okay, so thanks to a previous host of the show, Rowan,
Platforms and Pitfalls.
You probably heard them earlier this year on our AGPN Swapover episode. He came up with Bionic Commando, but it's an obtuse RPG. Now, I love me some Bionic Commando.
Okay, well, you're probably a little bit more. I have played some of it, both some of the side-scrolling reboot and some of the third-person one that they did.
Yep. So back in the 1990s, they had a whole heap of NES games got turned into books.
Okay.
And throughout the books, they had all these hints for the game and all this sort of stuff. I actually had
the Bionic
Commando book
novel
and the Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest book.
Nice.
And also Metal Gear.
That must have been I wonder if that was fun or excruciating for the author who got assigned that task.
Yeah. But so that whole idea of Bionic Commando was actually really quite interesting to me. At the start of the game, you only got the one grappling hook, but then later on in the game, you actually got a second grappling hook, and you could, pretty much Spider-Man all the way, all the way around.
Well, if we're bringing this into obtuse RPG, then I think the grappling hook makes the most sense for being like just ultimately customizable and switchable. Like you have to choose between upgrading, all your different segments of your grappling hook and stuff. Now, I guess it depends how obtuse we want to go.
I'm kind of seeing this as like a vertical Dark Souls.
Okay.
In the fact that you can grapple up to different floors of the building and all that sort of stuff, and sort of flick yourself around onto the next level. But anytime that you go back to the start, the enemies get respawned and all that sort of stuff.
So let's think about the combat. Are we thinking real time combat? Are we thinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking very much your Dark Souls-y, but based more off firearms and grappling hook.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I like the idea of you're basically replacing the whole roll to dodge, roll all the time in Dark Souls with just grapple all the time.
Yeah.
It's like you think you're about to get attacked, grapple.
Oh yeah, the whole thing is grapple.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as dodging. It is you can dodge up, and that's by grappling into the ceiling and
well, I think you can.
Up.
I think you can maybe dodge, but like the animation is he like reaches over and grapples to his left and pulls himself to that direction.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Okay. And then from an RPG standpoint, like we're generally talking like skill trees, equipment, perks, fucking XP, all that sort of shit.
Yep. I'm certainly thinking that there's on your actual grappling hook, like I'm seeing that there's going to be like 3 prongs. Each prong has like skill points.
Has its own properties to. Yeah.
Because if you just upgrade the top prong, but not the bottom left and the bottom right prong, then it's just over the top. It's like kind of like if you ever see a thumb wrestler who's got these massive muscles around the thumb,
I have not seen
the fingers are all.
That's not a real thing.
I'm just saying.
There are people who are. I believed you for a second. I was totally ready to believe you that there are like professional thumb wrestlers over there who like skipped finger day, right? And so they've just got this totally overcompensated thumb, over exercise, overworked thumb. No, I like that. Well, like I'm almost thinking of the 3 prongs as your slots, right? They are their own slots. You've got prong slots, and so you can buy like different prongs that will have different properties, but maybe you have to balance it. Like maybe they've got weights to really go down this obtuse path where you can't.
Yep.
You have to keep the center of mass of that thing like relatively close to the center. Otherwise, yeah, you're gonna fuck up all your grappling because it'll like veer left.
Yeah.
But if you've got the really kick-ass, like you might have a really kick-ass fucking laser prong. But it's pretty heavy because it needs that huge battery in there. And so you just you have to buy some super chunky but basic bottom prongs to like balance it out. And they're actually going to do less damage, but because you want to use your sick laser one, you have to keep it balanced. And then we didn't even go into guns.
Yeah. Well, guns, like every single gun has different like points that you can attribute.
So are we thinking, because I haven't played a lot of the Dark Souls or Dark Souls-esque games. Do you upgrade your equipment to that, or is it more that you just get different equipment that has different stats?
Well, you don't upgrade the equipment in that. No, you upgrade yourself, and then that,
and then your equipment's more effective based on your own stats.
But it's obtuse, so I'm thinking, yeah, of course you're doing absolutely everything.
Yeah, you've got you're adding fucking accessories and things to your guns. It's not accessories when it's guns. I don't think you call them accessories. I mean, like laser sights and
silencers
and different stocks or whatever. Loudness. Yeah, totally.
Now I'm just picturing a stealth game where the hard mode is it's got a loudener on it.
This isn't Bionic Comboido, it's Bionic Commando. You got to be loud. All right.
Oh,
I think we will move on. Shall we grab the other one we have on Twitter here?
No. We said that we do.
Oh, we were going to do another
we
Facebook.
do 3.
Okay.
Because then we've got 2 Facebooks to finish up.
You just want to even it out. That's fine. All right. So we shall move on to the next one from a Mr. Brendan White of the Hungry Gamers and an 8-bit in general. And he has given us the wonderful idea of bionic women riding robot dinosaurs.
Ooh.
So I like this. I like this because you've got a little bit of both in that. It's not just bionic women. The fucking dinosaurs are robots too.
Yeah.
But they're not bionic dinosaurs. Like, these aren't dinosaurs that have been upgraded with technology. These are robot dinosaurs that were created from scratch. So
this is in the future.
No, I thought we'd said it in the past with the bionic women and robot dinosaurs. Yeah, okay. This is in the future. But what's happened? Like, what's caused this wonderful hellscape? Well, it doesn't have to be a hellscape. It could actually be a really pleasant place to live. What has brought us to this point?
Okay, so what has happened in this world is finally the Y chromosome has broken down to a point where, like, literally men in this world are non-existent.
Women finally figured out how to procreate between themselves, and men became obsolete. Gotcha.
And basically, whenever they want to have a baby, they flick a switch, and a clone starts growing within them.
Well, is this... Yeah, okay, because this is obviously where the Bionics come in.
Yeah.
Do they get to inseminate each other? I guess you don't want that. It's not like everyone... It's not like they've all become necessarily attracted to other women. So, okay. So they've upgraded their uteruses to the point where they don't need semen, basically.
Yeah.
To keep the genetic diversity, are they able to, like, take the DNA from someone else and mix it with their own? Maybe. Yeah, maybe this is the two factions. Maybe this is why they need fucking robot dinosaurs to fight each other.
Yeah.
One faction of this world thinks that they should keep the gene pool strong and only just continue to clone themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The other faction thinks, no, we need to diversify, and they want to create children from combining their DNA in the old style. Perhaps the clone faction thinks that that's too dangerous, and we might accidentally breed a man.
But they're kind of like flat earthers, you know. They don't understand the idea that science actually says these clones are based solely off the XX chromosomes. You know, there's no Y in there. There's no way.
Right, so they're just fear-mongering, basically. They don't understand the science.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, okay. All right, that's interesting. That's cool.
So I'm seeing this as pretty much like almost a Horizon Zero Dawn sort of...
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And not just because there's robot dinosaurs.
Not just because of the dinosaurs. This time you're actually riding them, so...
I mean, she rides some of them.
I'm just imagining these herds of dinosaurs, and you go out... early on in this game, you're sent out to go and bond with your bionic dinosaur. It's sort of like Harry Potter, where the wand chooses the wizard. Well, the dinosaur chooses the bionic woman.
It's okay. I feel like it is a bit Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, I was almost thinking that, like, these were just robot dinosaurs. Like, they're just tools. I also was thinking maybe only
kind of like a lightsaber where you go to build your own.
Oh yeah, that's better. I like that. You have to go out and build your own robot dinosaur.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a dinosaur. I think one faction tends towards dinosaurs because they just think they're badass. And then maybe the other faction is something else.
Yeah, they tend towards cars. And it's just kind of shit.
It's like fucking Mad Max.
They've got no imagination.
And that's the clone. That's the single parent faction. Yeah. I like that. Fucking some Fury Road shit going on versus dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah.
And then is it just mostly, like, obviously we've set the narrative scene. Is it mostly just combat now? Is this a fucking, like, vehicular combat game for the most part?
Ooh.
Like, that could be cool.
I do like that idea.
You know, a bit of MechWarrior, a bit of Interstate 76, a bit of...
Yeah, but I think everything,
Carmageddon.
unlike in, like, Fury Road and that sort of stuff, where everything's just desert. I think they haven't fucked up the entire world with.
Well, the men died out. War. They fucking saved the world.
Yeah. So the entire world is just lush.
Yeah. Actually, I really like that idea. This isn't a post-apocalyptic world. This is almost a utopia, except that they've got this fucking polarizing topic, like polarizing decision about their lives that has unfortunately broken down into violence.
Okay, and so. Here is the kicker. Okay. When you're out getting your final piece of your dinosaur, you come across, like, this old building. And when you get in there, like, it's like a cryogenic facility.
Oh, shit.
And there's literally, you hit a button and out stumbles
a guy.
The only man in existence.
So there's a bit of Why the Last Man. Have you read that series? It's really good. Yeah, okay. And so...
I just...
Do you need to decide
I like the idea that
whether to protect them?
Well, I think I kind of want to see whether this is a guy who is like the worst human being on the planet, or whether this is a guy who
is actually like a good person,
a decent human being.
Yeah, it could be interesting in both ways. Do we create some situation where they need this guy's genetic material in some way, like from a certain biological standpoint? They've lasted this long, but the gene pool is dwindling, and they need a fresh injection of like Y chromosome.
As we sort of know that, like, a copy of a copy of a copy, like, you're going to get diminishing returns, and so there's some issues with the cloning technique, and in 30 generations,
right,
everything's going to be out, and you find out that there's actually more of these cryogenic facilities all over the world, or all over this area, and you've basically got.
I wonder if it could be interesting if the clone faction, they're actually surviving okay as long as every woman clones themselves, right? Because they've got the cloning process down.
As long as every woman mixes.
No. I'm saying that the people who are just cloning themselves, literally their own DNA, they're fine. Mm-hmm. They've got rules in place. They're not allowed to create more than one copy of themselves. I mean, I know that'd just be like twins, but like, they're kind of just, they are much stricter. They've got these rules in place. It's like every woman before she died, like before the age of something, 30, must kick off her clone.
No, not must.
No, must.
Not
no.
must.
In this situation, I think, and I know there are issues there around fucking bodily autonomy, but this is a sci-fi fucking future thingy where this is how they're surviving. This is how they're keeping their faction alive, is they're replacing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the other side, they have a much more traditional method of raising children with multiple parents where they combine their DNA, again, through the cloning process. But unfortunately, because of that and the mixing of genes and such in that situation, it's created, like, their gene pool is too limited and it's creating issues.
Yeah.
Because when you mix in that small, like, the big problem with mixing in a small gene pool is, like, the recessive genes and all the issues, like, sort of work their way to the top. At least that's what as far as I'm aware. Whereas a direct clone, like, you've got that one line of DNA that you sort of already know is good, in a sense. There's definitely some tricky fucking ethical things to work out there, but just from a general idea, I kind of like that.
I'm kind of like on the cusp of, it's recommended that by this age, and everyone's sort of going along.
Well, but I'm kind of thinking they're the bad guys. I'm kind of thinking that the strict clone only people, they're fucking fascists, basically, by this point. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they are, because there are elements of eugenics in that as well. And so they are they are saying, you basically, if you reach a certain age where you're too old to bear a child, then you get, like, exiled and you end up joining the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But you're playing on the side of the the like the good team who are more ethical, and that's why you are searching for these facilities, because you need the DNA that's inside. It happens that there are a lot of men in there, and that's also why the other side is trying to stop you, because they're also like militant about like, no, we can't bring men back into this world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really do like this idea. I think it's really cool, and the fact that it's all lush and
I like that idea. That, and I mean, I know that we with a whole fascist faction, we kind of moved away from the utopia idea, but no, they're taking care of the planet, they're taking care of the world, they've got technology. But there's
I'm just seeing that you got like the religious sort of group, and then you got the non-religious side of things, and the religious group are kind of fucking everything up.
Well, and that's basically what the clone-only faction, like the clone faction is, I think, is they're a bit more of devout, strict rules around these things, but they're misguided. It's not coming from a place of logic. Cool. Okay. We do need to move on.
That was really cool. Thank you so much, Brendan.
Yes, that was an awesome one. We shall move over to Twitter now. So, we have Mrs. Lalante has given us a pitch from Twitter. Mrs. Lalante of the Inconsolables and of her own Twitch stream, which we were on a little while back on her fun improv show, Tentacle Time. The words...
If you haven't checked that out, you have to check out.
Go and check out Tentacle Time. It's so funny.
Tentacle Time, especially our episode. It was really
a great time. She's given us 4 words to spark our imaginations. Tentacle, kawaii, Firebird, noodles.
Ooh.
Now,
okay,
you and I aren't big anime guys.
No. So I'm taking tentacle, as in Day of the Tentacle.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. We're going into LucasArts territory.
LucasArts territory. Bernard has found a phoenix, hence Firebird. Okay. While he was out getting, like, pot noodles.
All right. Oh, but the phoenix has like giant eyes, and it's very kawaii, as far as I understand the meaning of that word.
Yeah.
Is this okay? I like the idea that it's literally like it's drawn, because obviously Day of the Tentacle is very sort of cartoony style, but this is drawn in a very anime-like style, and you find out it's been like genetically engineered
by the Edisons.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I like this a lot. Okay. That kicks off the adventure.
Yeah. And so you're going back to the mansion full of maniacs.
Okay. Yeah, I think obviously you do have to go back to the mansion, but to avoid retreading too much, I think you got to switch it around a fair bit somehow. Like, it's not just the same layout and stuff as before.
No. And you don't spend the whole game there this time either.
Yeah, okay.
I think what's actually happened is Dr. Fred he's tapped into this other world, and that's where the Phoenix has sort of escaped from. It's like an anime world.
Oh, see, I was going, what's the son who is a bit, who's got the stamp collection?
Oh, crap. Ed Edison.
Weird Ed. Yeah, okay. Weird Ed Edison. I was kind of thinking like he's got into anime. And so he's like snuck into the doctor's fucking Fred. He's Fred Edison, right? Is the doctor?
Yeah.
Into his lab and like
Fred, Edna, and Weird Ed.
Right.
They're all Eds.
Yeah. Ed and Ed. He snuck into the doctor's lab and like genetically engineered. He's starting to genetically engineer creatures to be anime creatures. Because he's gotten into anime. But now it's causing chaos because they're getting loose.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think the green tentacle has actually been like taken into the anime world, so that you have to go back in to the anime world.
So there's still so you're saying there's still an anime world?
I think the third act is in there.
Okay, so is the genetically engineering thing maybe a red herring? Where you think he's engineering them, but it turns out he's opened a portal to another dimension.
Yeah, okay. Because he didn't want his dad to find out that he actually stole them from like another universe, sort of thing.
Right. Okay.
You know,
actually, there's some cool.
He wanted to impress his dad.
There's some cool stuff there. He's like, Dad, I genetically engineered these creatures, and Dad's like really proud of him. When actually it turns out that he just like spilt some coke on a machine and opened a dimensional portal to an anime world.
Yep. And I think one of the other things that you need to get from this anime world is like his stamp collection, because that was
okay.
That
like
was
it fell through
from the.
Okay, I really like that. That's cool. I don't think we'll go too far in fleshing out the rest of the story just because we're running low on time. But I love the idea. Yeah. Okay. So Day of the Tentacle sequel. Bernard goes back to the mansion after finding an anime phoenix at a noodle shop. How does he know to go to the mansion? Does he just assume anything weird? Or does he take it to the mansion to ask Dr. Fred about it? Against his better judgment.
I think if you actually have a look at like the leg, it's got like a little tag on it saying, if found, please return to.
Right, because he's keeping it as a pet, basically. He's keeping these things as pets. Okay, so he goes back to the mansion and, yeah, sort of, again, in classic adventure game style, starts discovering what's going on. It has all these anime creatures. He says that he's been genetically engineering them. His dad's real proud of him all of a sudden, and you can have all this great, like, daddy-son stuff going on where finally his dad loves him. Mm-hmm. But then, yeah, you find out somehow, wait a sec, they actually came from the dimensional portal. Maybe they break through because basically he's been taking, like, the kids of these creatures and then, like, the fucking mama phoenix breaks through. It's this giant kick-ass anime phoenix. And, yeah, you discover, all right, fuck, okay. And then you need Green Tentacle's help to get them all back and close the door, the dimensional door.
And, of course, when you get to the final end of the game, you find out the purple tentacle is actually back, and
or the anime version of the purple tentacle. He's like a dimensional twin,
huge cute eyes, and
huge cute suckers on the eyes on the tentacle. Yeah. All right.
Oh god,
love it. That's cool. All right, moving on. Okay, so I think we've gone through our Twitter ones. So we're back to the last couple on Facebook. Dane Peavy from 8-Bits has sent through an idea here, and his pitch is a Celtic warrior living in Japan. Now, this is cool. I know little of either of these cultures.
Okay, so I sort of see this as, like, if I think of the Celts, I sort of think Stonehenge.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that this is back in the day where Stonehenge was actually a fully activated, like, portal to different places on the planet so that people could travel around really, really quickly. But, like, this is a young warrior who gets launched into like, feudal Japan.
Okay. You're a Celtic warrior in England. You're fighting around, like, there's some battle going on around Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Which at this point is already pretty old, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is the sort of Celtic warrior timeline? 12th to 6th centuries BC, 6th to 1st century. So, yeah, okay. So, but even it's like fucking 2,000 years after fucking Stonehenge was built. God damn, that's old.
Yeah, but I'm thinking in this particular thing, like, Stonehenge is fully activated, and you've got the outer rings and all that sort of stuff, and basically each doorway is like a doorway to another world, or to another.
So do these warriors and stuff know about Stonehenge? Like, they know that it's. Is this a time fucking 2,500, 3,000 years ago when Stonehenge was basically used like a fucking Stargate to just, like, get places?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically used as a Stargate but it's a world gate.
Yeah, to get, like, different places around the world.
Travel.
All right. It's like the hub.
Travel around the world.
Okay, this is interesting. All right, so this is this is a part of history that's just been completely lost to us, where it turns out, and Stonehenge is basically the only thing that's left. Stonehenge was like the LAX.
Built by the Atlanteans.
It was like the LAX of the world. It was like the central hub where you had to...
As I said, built by the Atlanteans.
Sure.
And because they were absolutely freaking amazing technical geniuses.
So, okay, because I love this idea then that there are other portals around the world, but they all go to Stonehenge. So to get between anywhere else, you have to go via Stonehenge. And that's why it's in a circle like that. It's basically, you've just got all these masses of people just like coming out one portal, going into another all day long.
Yeah. So I'm thinking what actually happens at the start of this is that you're there as basically a guard.
You're like a security guard. Yeah. Okay.
You're a security guard. You're just a young warrior who's just been put on the shift, has sort of fallen asleep, but then like someone comes in and attacks. So as you're fighting them, you get sort of knocked into into one of the portals.
Yep.
You end up in Japan and the portal shuts off instantly. And you're trapped in Japan.
Sure.
Where you don't know the language, you basically got all these samurai after you, you've got horseback, and then it turns into sort of like a Red Dead Redemption sort of thing where, you know, having to get a horse, get away from this area and try to find like a Celtic warrior who was stationed in Japan. And that's your whole journey, because they will be able to turn the portal back on because they've got like the activation device.
Right. Now, at risk of screwing this up completely, I suspect Japan, I'm not sure they started making, I'm not sure samurai, like they didn't make metal tools until like 100 BC. But the Celts like were around like hundreds of years before that. Anyway, I'm not going to do a history lesson. That's fine.
This is the lost history.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All of that is gone to.
I haven't told you about Act 3 yet.
All right. Continue.
Where the aliens attack.
The aliens attack. Yeah. And they destroy. They take. Well, no, the Atlanteans attack. They're like, you fucked up the use of our technology. We're going to take it all back. And that's why there's no trace of it today, except for like what's left of giant rocks and things.
What's left of LAX? I mean Stonehenge.
STX. SHX.
Have we just found the name of the episode? LAX? No, I mean Stonehenge.
I just think Stonehenge Exchange or something. I don't know.
Stonehenge International Portal Hub.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. We've got one more left. And it's a good one.
Oh, we haven't talked about what happens in Japan yet.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I was distracted by figuring out whether our timelines were correct. Okay, so Celtic warrior trips through the portal, finds himself in Japan, Red Dead Redemption-y.
In the middle of a battle. Like there's just a massive battle going on.
Right. And so you've got this great scene where you're just having to like duck and dodge and attack and
yeah, so you basically got to get out of there, and you sort of see like you look around everywhere, but you can't find, you know, the guard that was supposed to be posted on this side.
Right.
And you know that that's the only way back now that the portal's down.
Right. Oh, and maybe so like maybe each side of the portal has one local guard and one Atlantean guard.
Yeah.
And the Atlanteans have like all this technology, right? And so because I'm just thinking there's going to be a language barrier. And I actually really like the idea of starting this off with a language barrier where you literally can't understand anybody here.
Yeah.
But your first goal is to track down the Atlantean. Through talking,
you start learning words and like.
Well, perhaps, but I was more thinking you track down the Atlantean and he's like, here, I've got a universal translator. But until then, you can't understand people, and you're mostly having to just do it through kind of charades.
Okay, so are we actually saying in this world, like, Atlanteans are actually not human at all, but they're actually, like...
aliens.
Well, maybe not even aliens. Maybe they're just another species that
oh, okay. They're like in a more advanced sapiens.
Yeah, like a sort of dinosaur that grew into like a humanoid thing or something like that, and they've just got really smart brain, or maybe they're. I
like the idea that they're dinosaur creatures. That's cool. Just because, like dinosaurs evolved, and they have had millions and millions more years than us to evolve, and they eventually evolved into these hyper intelligent, technologically advanced creatures. And then at the end of this game, when we fuck it all up, they basically erase themselves from our fossil records in history.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And basically they you see them plant like some dodgy dinosaur records just to sort of,
or they leave all the old ones because like that's their actual ancestors, but they plant dodgy asteroid signs of an asteroid so that we've got they've got plausible deniability for why they're not around anymore. Yeah.
Oh, I really like that.
That's cool. And actually, I really like that idea of the kind of cross between the very, medieval and feudal Japan sort of thing with these little technological aspects of these Atlanteans going around, and they've got this tech.
You know what I want? One of the Atlanteans is like a weapons dealer, and is like actually making all the weapons for these two sides of this war, basically trying to incite something.
Right, and maybe they're even the reason that like this whole thing goes to shit. Like the Atlanteans have been peaceful up to this point, and they don't generally deal with weapons, but
working in the shadows sort of thing.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
They've seen that the humans are like,
aggressive and.
They're too aggressive, so why not turn them on each other so that they don't turn around and rise up against them?
Right, okay, gotcha. That's cool.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Love it.
Cool.
All right, let's move on to our final idea of the evening. And this one comes...
Not our final idea.
No, the final idea that we will be attempting, given to us by Mr. Ryan Betson. Who was on our...
Go check out episode
150th episode from PAX, exactly, and from the Pop Culturists. And his idea is father and son wrestling journey, which I love. And he has expanded in a response that he means pro wrestling, which is good because that was the area I was going to go. Anyway, despite, again, disclaimer, knowing fuck all about it.
Yes. We're not wrestling aficionados. Whatever the
We're
fuck
not wrestling fish.
We're not wrestling fanatics.
We're not wrestling fish tornadoes. We don't know anything about it, but we're going to attempt it anyway.
Now I have to keep in my dodgy saying
yes, you do.
aficionados.
It's like the best joke I've ever done.
Damn you. Just trying to hide that in the edit.
All right, so we're not going to utilize any real wrestlers or fucking wrestling federations or whatever because we don't know anything about them. But we know the general gist of wrestling, big, brash. You got your heroes, you got your heels, you got your music, you got your lights, you got your fucking fake bashing each other into floors and things. So, father and son wrestling journey. Is this a journey of a father and son into the fandom of wrestling or as wrestlers themselves?
I do kind of like the idea of it. It's a father passing on like his fanatical nature, like to his son. Like, it's something that his father, taught him to love wrestling and traveled around with all the different wrestling shows that went around the country.
Yeah.
Went to every single one.
Yeah, or like
over like a
or like the
summer or something
small
like that.
indie wrestling festivals before they became the big multi-international ones. I don't know. Like I said.
Okay.
No, I like that. That's cool. Does the son become a wrestler though? Like, is this and where does the drama come from? Is the son not into it initially? Like,
well, I think it's like this is the father's last chance to sort of bond with his son because he's got like a cancer diagnosis or something like that.
Okay.
And so it's like this journey that starts, sort of in the middle of it. You don't know exactly why this journey is going down. You just know that, this father and son have not sort of talked for quite a while.
Okay, so you've got a somewhat estranged father-son relationship. I like the idea that the first scene of the game is like they're in the car, like cuts into that sort of front-on view through the front windscreen of them in the car, and there's just silence. There's just sort of this awkward silence.
And you see around them all these cars because they're in a car park of like a big stadium.
Oh, okay.
And they're about to get out and go into
their like first show of the trip or something.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And so we're sort of talking a bit of like dialogue-based kind of, do you play the son or the father or both?
I kind of like the idea that you're playing the father.
Okay.
So, you're trying to say the right thing to get your son into.
I like the idea. And I think, so I recently played a bit of After Party, which is by the same people who did Oxenfree. And a lot of that is around just, you've got a few dialogue choices at different moments, but sometimes they'll do it where like you select a dialogue choice, you can't actually select it. Like there are only certain situations where you can select it. So I love the idea of doing through dialogue trees. Like there are a few things that he would like to say to his son,
but he can't find the words.
Yeah,
for
but
it.
you can't say those because there's all this history and there's toxic masculinity and there's, different things that get in the way. And so doing that, like you're kind of showing what he's thinking without actually having that inner monologue. I really like that idea. That's cool. And so, yeah, they have like a little conversation. And so does the son know the father has cancer yet?
I think no.
Yeah.
I think this is sort of like the father didn't want to guilt the son into coming on this journey. It was more just something that he brought up, saying that,
but then
my father
took me on a journey
like this.
Be here, or is he kind of a bit pissy about it?
A bit pissy about it, I think.
Yeah.
Wanted to spend time playing Fortnite.
Well, wait, how old is his son? Because I was kind of thinking grown, like I was sort of thinking more grown.
Okay.
Like married and sort of, but we could go teenage with the younger dad. I think we just had different things in mind there. I was kind of thinking like, I was 55-year-old dad and 27-year-old kid or something, right? Like married, maybe has one kid of their own. Wife pressured him to go on this trip because it's like you should really get to know your dad better.
See, whereas I was sort of thinking 57-year-old dad and 17-year-old
right,
son.
he's got, okay.
had the son late.
Had the son late. I mean, that's fine. Like, second marriage, they didn't have kids in the first one, but got married.
Or maybe it's he is the son from the first marriage, because then there's a reason as to why he hasn't spent that much time with him. Sort of
okay. Yeah. All right, like they had the son, but then split up pretty soon after that. Mother got custody. Now he's like 17. This is like 15 years later after the divorce. Yep. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that could be cool. All right. Yeah, let's do that then. And then you've got a bit more of that. Yeah, it's a different vibe. A teenager coming around and learning to love their father is different to, an adult coming around and realizing certain things about their father. Like there's a very different perspective there. But yeah, I think that's powerful from both ways. So.
My perspective now is so much better than what it was sort of back when I was 17.
And that's
now I know exactly what my father was going through.
Well, and that's obviously why I was more relating to like an older son.
Yeah.
But
there's no reason why we couldn't actually make this two trips, like one at 17 and one like recreating the journey like 15 years later sort of thing.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe we flash back, go back and forth between them even.
Go back and forth between them and
that's cool, actually.
Trying to recreate some of the adventures and what turned them around back then and brought them together a little bit further. So
okay, so they had what ended up being this really great trip like 15 years ago when the kid was 17.
And now the father's trying to recreate it.
And again, like back then the kid didn't really want to go, but like quickly got into wrestling as part of this and actually really bonded. But then once the trip was over, like his wife moved away or something with the kid. And so they sort of fell out of contact again. And they've seen each other, once every year or two for the past 15 years. But now he's got this cancer diagnosis and he's reached out. He's like, hey, like, let's do that road trip again. Yep. That's cool. I like it.
So the way I want this to sort of end is sort of like it then flashes forward another 15 years. And it's
the son taking his
out with
kid.
His kid on like, this is our 5th time out on this journey.
They do it every year or something.
Every year.
Yeah.
Like that, this whole thing hasn't been for nothing.
Yeah.
It's actually, made him think about why, what he needs to do to actually be, a good father.
Yeah. That's cool. I really like that. And I know we're basically out of time, and that's pretty good already, but just to get a sense of the general gameplay, it's obviously going to be very narrative based, mostly dialogue based. I think you do have a lot of these scenes in the car where you just kind of, have these discussions back and forth. What does it look like, when you go into the wrestling matches and stuff? Or do we purely set this in make this real indie, as few assets as possible? All the scenes are just through the front windshield of the car. With the background changing, things in the car changing, the car itself changing. Between the different,
maybe the car itself doesn't.
It's the same car, but you see, it's the wear and tear on it changing, right? When you jump between the different time periods, I actually really like that a lot. And as they go along this trip, you sort of see the wrestling memorabilia building up in the backseat behind them and stuff. But you never actually get to see any wrestling matches. They just talk about them.
They're sort of talking about the wrestling match and how good the wrestling match is. You can sort of see that. That's what they're really excited about. And then when it gets a little bit more serious or they start talking about other stuff,
they shut down on it.
Everything sort of, the sun starts shutting down in the earlier one. The father gets a bit teary in the older one.
And I love that idea that options that you had near the beginning of the trip that were not open, open up near the end. That could be a really cool moment where you reveal that you can say this now. You can tell your son you love him, or tell him that you have cancer, or whatever. At the appropriate moment when you've bonded well enough and feel more comfortable doing that.
Yeah,
that's really fucking cool.
I see this as a real tearjerker.
Absolutely, that would rock. And I'm sorry, Ryan. We didn't actually get a lot of actual wrestling in there, but the basis is wrestling here. This is what they're bonding over. Teaching them to love each other.
We're not fish tornadoes of wrestling, but we are fish tornadoes of father-son relationships.
That's it. Both directions, man. All right. So we will finish it off there. If you want to find us online, we are at podchaser.com/bitstorm. Go there, leave reviews and ratings. Go and rate this episode. Tell us what you thought, particularly if you were one of the people who sent in a suggestion. Tell us what you thought. I'd love to hear what you thought of what we did with your game idea. Leave it as a review. Check out our creator profiles on there too and see all the other shows we've been on, including some of the shows from the people who gave suggestions tonight. We are also part of the 8-Bit Collective. This is a group of podcasts around video gaming and pop culture. Check out some of those great casts at 8bit.net.
And a big thank you to the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network, without whom this episode wouldn't have been possible, because they came up with, 70% of the ideas? Or whatever it was. So check out the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook, or check out at AGP Network on Twitter. And finally, we'd like to thank Kurodust for the use of the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure.
Thank you, everyone. That was an overwhelming response for the few hours that I had there before recording since I put it up. Really, really appreciate the suggestions. I think we filled some really cool stuff in there. And hey, everyone, have a fucking happy new year. And I hope you had a good Christmas. And 2020 is going to be fun as long as the world doesn't burn down. But we'll be here. We'll be here releasing episodes every week, as they have been doing for the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
So, until then, till the world burns down, thank you for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I'm off to upgrade my grappling hook.